Usa ka pagtuo, usa ka tingog, usa ka katawhan. Cebu Catholic Television Network.
Welcome to the Art of Precision on Gillette World Sport. Coming up today, we attempt a world first with stunt rider Travis Pastrana. Find out what it takes to coach world champion boxers. And talk technique with Rafa Nadal.
The technique is the ability that you have to create the shot that you want to create in every single moment.
First up on Gillette World Sport, we're in London on the banks of the River Thames as extreme sports icon Travis Pastrana attempts his latest daring stunt.
My name is Travis Pastrana. I'm an action sports athlete and ringleader of the Nitro Circus. Nitro Circus has been kind of the action sports group that has chased big air, that has tried to do stuff that's never been done before, world's first, biggest ramps. It's not about doing the same thing slightly better than somebody else. It's about doing something that no one else ever thought was possible. The stunt today is basically, I'm going to be doing a backflip from one barge to another barge in heavy wind in front of the O2 Arena. The barge to barge was actually thought of first by a guy named Mike Metzger. He was one of the greatest freestyle riders of all time, and it pretty much ended his career. When you're doing some kind of barge, especially on a river, any undulation of change of the ramp angle or the other ramp going up or down makes a huge difference in where you land. And especially if you're doing a backflip, you don't see, okay, the landing went up 5 feet. That seems like a big deal, but if your takeoff goes down 5 feet, that's suddenly a huge deal. And there's not a lot of run in, there's not a lot of run out. So if you make any mistakes, you're going into the water.
We've had massive problems over the last 2 days with the tide. Obviously we knew this river was tidal, but yesterday they had exceptionally high water, and so we tried to set the barges up. Basically the legs which go into the bed to keep it relatively stable, they pulled out because the water got too high, and so we had to give up yesterday. The variables which we never normally have that are obviously in this stunt are lining 2 barges up that are rocking around on the water, because the takeoff has to be exactly in line with the landing, and the distance has to be exact as well. And obviously the movement on the barges, no one really knows. We haven't done it before, no one's ever done it before, and so normally we have a safety bag on the front, but today we can't do that because we have to make the gap look as spectacular as possible. So I mean, he's got to clear it. There's no margin for error. Travis can't judge the distance, we have to tell him what the distance is, and so if he's got to jump 75 feet, he's going to jump 75 foot, and so if I've made it 85 foot, he's going to come up short.
For me, I feel like muscle memory does most of it. I know how to ride a motorcycle, I know how to get my speed right, my distance right, I know how to slow down a flip, speed up a flip. The hardest part is there's so many variables that are outside of our control for this particular jump. It makes it a lot more nerve-wracking for the rider, for me. Usually in a backflip, you know exactly where you are, you know where the landing is. But I've never ridden that motorcycle before. I've got my suspension on it, but I'm not sure exactly how fast it goes. During the flip, instead of just relaxing, I'm probably going to be just head up, looking for that landing and figuring out if I got to speed up the rotation or slow it down, or if I'm just going to completely miss and hit the water. So we'll see what happens. jumped in Thames River. This is an awesome day, man. Sun came out, beautiful. Had a pretty good side wind, but it was fairly consistent, so aimed a little left, and it's like a golf ball. Blew me right back to the center, so we're perfect.
No, for sure shaking. I mean, this morning, like I said, just if this is calm and it's okay, you're like, all right, 9 out of 10 times I'm landing that, I'm gonna be okay. But you know, when it's go time, all you guys came out, we're like, oh man. I mean, no, it could have been more beautiful. Definitely, you know, taking one of these pictures and putting it up in the house. So thank you guys for coming out. And this is a really cool day for me.
Next, we're revving up at the penultimate round of the Superbike World Championship.
Round 12 of the 2017 season saw the World Superbike Circus arrive in the southwest of Spain, where the local crowd welcomed newly crowned world champion Jonathan Rea. The three-time champion had blown the competition aside all season, and from second on the grid looked like doing the same in Saturday's race 1, until an accident involving Ayrton Badavini and Raffaele De Rosa brought out the red flag. Rea took control of the restarted race, but was passed by Ducati's Marco Melandri with 13 laps to go. A technical problem robbed the Italian of victory, however, allowing Rea to take his first win at the Spanish circuit ahead of fellow Brits Chaz Davies and Tom Sykes. Race 2 on Sunday was also red flagged after early incidents involving Chaz Davies, Eugene Lafferty and Dominic Schmitter. The action finally got underway with Alex Lowe's. With a hard-fought podium finish, Davies moved to equal second in the standings with Tom Sykes, but the celebrations once again belong to Jonathan Rea, whose double win secures the Manufacturers' World Championship for Kawasaki.
As the tennis season nears its finale, we're breaking down important aspects of the game with the current world number 1. Rafa Nadal is statistically one of the greatest tennis players of all time. Known for his aggressive game, the 31-year-old has been praised for consistency, speedy footwork, and precise court coverage, especially on clay. To date, the Spaniard has won 16 Grand Slam titles and 2 Olympic gold medals, and after a dominating 2017 season, looks set to retain his #1 ranking. The King of Clay sat down with Gillette World Sport to discuss some of the elements which have been key to his success on the court.
Well, determination, I think, is an important thing in life in general, not only in sport. No, you need to have the right determination when you want something. You really need to go for it, no? And you need the right determination to make it happen. Precision in tennis, you need to repeat the shots in a similar way, no? So you need to be enough accurate to make it happen. When you are a tennis player, you need to have the balance. No? You move around the court, you change directions in every single point, so you need to have the right balance. No? But it's about coordination, it's about ability to read the next shot and to understand where the opponent gonna hit the next ball and try to be quick and enough smart to be there before. The sport in general is about time. All the people who really have enough time to think, playing at the highest level, is the people who have success. Technique is not an easy word, no, because sometimes the people get confused about the technique and about the elegance, no, and there are two different things. No, you can have a great technique without being a very elegant player. So at the end of the day, the technique is the ability that you have to create the shot that you want to create in every single moment, no, and that's when you are able to make that happen is because you have a right technique. You know, in tennis, you don't need to be very strong to hit the ball very hard or to create damage on the opponent. No? But the real thing, you need the right technique is a combination of things. No? Good preparation, good coordination, and choose the right moment to hit the ball. It's not about how powerful you are hitting the ball, it's about when and where you are hitting the ball. No? So you cannot be too early, you cannot be too late. You need to be at the right moment hitting the ball, and that makes the difference.
Still to come, freestyle skiing and snowboarding at Soche Big Air in France. And a winning training regime with boxing coach Shane McGuigan. Welcome back to Gillette World Sport. Coming up, we enter the ring with boxing coach Shane McGuigan and take to the snow at the second annual Soche Big Air. Now we return to London, England, this time to break down exactly what it takes to coach a world champion boxer.
It's brilliant, honestly. Especially when they're at a low level, it's great to see the progression and how quickly they can go from a decent fighter to a very good fighter, and that's the most enjoyable process.
One of the youngest coaches in history to train a world champion, Shane McGuigan is a boxing coach with a unique approach to the sport. Following a successful amateur career, he was drawn to the science of strength and fitness, studying under world-renowned Charles Poliquin and at the Irish Strength Institute. Where other coaches focus on sparring and delegate responsibility for strength and conditioning or nutrition, McGuigan covers all bases.
Coming from that background, doing those courses, I know the different energy systems, and I know you've got to tick off every single box to make a complete athlete. Strength and conditioning program is completely different for every single boxer. We look at where they are in camp. Some people come into camp 2 stone overweight, sometimes even more. It's completely different for every single person. You've got different body shapes. You've got endomorphs, mesomorphs, ectomorphs. So people that are naturally skinny, they're not quite as strong, so they've got to do a few more reps to get the desired effect. Nutrition is another point that I studied on, and I think it's massively important. 10 years ago, or even less than that, 5 years ago, everyone was doing the same thing. They were still starving themselves. They were underperforming because of that. And I think, from my point of view, I've got to look at macronutrients when we're placing the carbohydrates in on the foods. Supplementation and hydration. I mean, those are the big factors.
Having originally gotten into boxing through his father, former WBA world champion Barry McGuigan, Shane's training stable has included the likes of David Hay, Carl Frampton, and now George Groves, as well as many up-and-coming fighters. Working with different body shapes and personalities, McGuigan aims to achieve the perfect training approach for each individual.
The process that I go through with my boxers, it differs between the level that they're at. I think you should have a 12-week camp if you're going into a championship contest. They get a week per round that they're doing. We go through all the different energy systems, so we sort of build endurance in them at the start, we build strength into them, and then we build power into them in the end. And that, obviously, you'll see the peak. A lot of trainers will see them getting fitter, so they'll do more. But it's like, okay, look how fit he is, then start bringing the reins off because he's already got that fitness. You can't push them too hard, and you've got to pull off the reins and make sure that they're saving themselves for the fight. On a weekly basis, it would always be boxing is the first session of the day, and then all the other supplementary stuff like the weight training, the track, the conditioning circuits, they're all secondary, so they'll go in the evening sessions. I'll use pad work for a lot of different things, and then I'll work on technique whenever I'm doing it. If I've got a person that is from the amateurs, and at that stage we're working on technique, how to throw the shot, what comes after a right hand, where you roll, you slip, whichever thing it is, we're working on choreographing movements so that whenever you do something 10,000 times it becomes a habit, and then he naturally does it, he hits that shot in sparring and he rolls out. Then after that it becomes a tactical sort of standpoint. It's like, okay, who's your opponent? Where do you need to be? What positioning? Is he a southpaw, orthodox? Is he aggressive? Does he move away? Do you have to go and get him? You can do so much with pad work, but you've got to spar. If you don't spar, you don't get your timing, you don't get your reflexes. The fact is when you get clipped a couple of times, there's nothing better to waken you up as an athlete than getting hit around the head, and make sure you're not going to do that same mistake twice. We'll spar anywhere between 100 and 200 rounds for a fight. From a tactics sort of standpoint, my job is to watch the opponent, watch him, not just in one fight or two fights, we've got to watch him on all his fights and make sure that you can see his strengths, see his weaknesses, and you just got to make sure that you're prepared for the opponent. And from where I come in, I've got to make sure I replicate the opponent. I've got to move around, be fleet-footed, or come at them and work on different punch combinations. And I mean, it's just a combined effort. We've got to make sure that the sparring's right, make sure the pad work's right, make sure we analyse the fighter, and and the boxer that I'm working with is aware of that. He doesn't underestimate it. Your elbows can get sore. I think I can get that one on camera for you. You're constantly resisting punches all day long, and if you're weak, your body and your joints are going to take the impact, whereas if you've got a little bit of muscle and a bit of strength behind that, your muscles can be the shock absorbers. So I definitely wouldn't be doing this when I'm 70 years old. I'll have some other person do it, and I might take the more mentor role that my dad takes. I'm just trying to be the best coach I can be.
Next up, some of the world's best freestyle skiers and snowboarders take to the air in France.
Almost 40,000 spectators ranging in age from 7 to 77 gathered by Lake Annecy in the French Alps to cheer on some of the world's best skiers and snowboarders as they kicked off the Winter Olympic season at the second annual Soche Big Air. The 42-metre high steel construction allowed jumps of 25 metres long and an average height of 9 metres. Each competitor performed 3 crowd-pleasing jumps, with every rider's best attempt counting towards a spot on the podium. In the snowboard event, Frenchman Sebastian Klinenberg finished 3rd on the podium, with Finn Rupi-Tonteri taking 2nd place, and Iceland's Halldór Helgason taking top spot with his first run, a double backflip. Over in the ski, 15-year-old Tess Ledoux won the women's event on home soil with a rodeo 720 safety.
Well, it's always good to win an event at home here in France. The public was really supportive and the whole event has been massive, so I'm extremely happy.
The climax of the weekend was the men's ski. Switzerland's Luca Schuler took 3rd spot with a triple 1080 safety. 2nd place went to American Torren Yeta Wallace, who pleased the crowd by landing a dub flat 1440 safety.
It was a really fun time. I always love coming back to Annecy. Such a fun place, such a sick crowd, and everybody's hyped to watch. So yeah, it was really fun second time around, and luckily ended up going well.
Whilst 1st place went to Finland's Leah Syria, who won with a stratospheric free safety grab dub 10.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm like super stoked. Like, yeah, I can't believe it.
Time now to look at the videos making the social headlines. After successfully completing his stunt in London, Travis Pastrana was back in the air, diving from the top of a pirate ship. Andy Murray got back into the swing of things as the 3-time major winner works his way back from injury. Some of the biggest names in action sports were in Mexico, as stars such as Alex Sorgente, Chris Kyle, and Tony Hawk tried out the new 8,800 square meter Woodward facility at Riviera Maya. Floyd Mayweather fueled speculation that he could be planning a return to the ring, sharing this video of a recent workout on the heavy bag. Paris Saint-Germain had a special guest at training, Kobe Bryant. The NBA legend practiced his keepy-ups with Kylian Mbappe, and then his French, learning the club motto. Wake skater Brian Grubb got into the Halloween spirit, catching a pumpkin while completing this bungee jump. Brazilian slackliner Carlos Neto was playing hide-and-seek at a waterfall. Arsenal goalkeeper Petr Cech showed how he stays at the top of his game, age 35, with this hand-eye coordination drill. And finally,
Listen, all I'm asking, don't kill me.
Lewis Hamilton took Usain Bolt for a spin prior to his win at the U.S. Grand Prix in Austin, Texas.
So stressed. So stressed.
Finally this week, we're at Ascot Racecourse in the UK for one of the British Champions Day horse racing highlights.
The Champions Stakes is the grand finale to the flat racing season and is firmly established as one of the must-watch events in the British horse racing calendar. Run at Ascot over a distance of 2,000 metres, the favourite going into this year's race was veteran jockey Frankie Dettori with 3-year-old colt Cracksman. Neither horse nor jockey had won the prestigious Group 1 race before.
And away they go. And Highland Rio jumps out alertly to the outside in the purple and white jacket.
Almost from the start, Cracksman was looking strong as he quickly moved into the lead.
Frankie is well poised here on Cracksman as they pass the 3 furlong marker and now entering the home straight, and Cracksman is given the office and allowed to use his giant stride, chased by Poet's Word. Highland Reel on the outside, Success Day, Bramato is running on, Cracksman the one to catch in the champion, 2 lengths, 3 lengths clear Poet's Word. Recolletos is staying on well, but Cracksman looks relentless here. Cracksman opening up, 4-5 lengths clear as they race up towards the line. Cracksman going further away from the field in the start of the mighty Frankton, and here is a champion. Cracksman wins the champion in fantastic style. Poet's Word on the far side second, just ahead of Highland Reel, and Recolletos back in fourth.
Usa ka pagtuo. Usa ka tingog. Usa ka katawhan. Cebu Catholic Television Network.